Today we are covering Prog. This stock for Friday did see a decline of around 7%. That is clear on the chart over here, but one thing that you will notice is that actually in after hours we were up by almost 0.5%, so things were not looking too bad overall in the past day. Again, we are seeing a bit of a decrease in price for Friday, but realistically in the past week things are still looking relatively good. So what we're going to be doing in tonight's video is giving a bit of a roundup on both Friday and the past week. Hopefully getting into tomorrow I will be able to give you guys a bit of an updated video talking about what I'm expecting going forwards into the next week, but you guys will have just seen on screen we did just cross over to 12.9k subscribers. Now I'm going to ask you guys if you can continue this, get us up to 13,000, please do keep subscribing, you are all helping. But yes, remember this is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor, but we are also doing a fundraiser right now for Save the Children. If you can donate to Save the Children, please do, you will be helping to improve children's lives, and it is a nice thing that we are doing towards Christmas. 100% of the funds do go straight to Save the Children. But like I said, this is a very risky stock, I think it is important to remind you guys of that, but now we're going to jump into the video. So where I want to start us off with is the simple chart, because again it is very easy for everybody to understand. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the 1 day chart and we're going to explain the trend down that we have noticed on the past day in a bit more detail. So on the 1 day, one thing is clear, we are falling from open to close, but it's really not that bad. You will see that from 9:30 we started to drop. This took us up from a price opening at 387, sorry, and then we dropped all the way to our lows, which were down here at the 354 mark. Now from there we did actually move up a little bit and consolidated in the high 350s / low 360s for the rest of the day. We had a second dip down here to the 354 mark again, you will see, but fortunately we did come back up towards the end of the day and this took us back up to the 360 range. So really it wasn't too bad, and you will see that whilst we did have that sell-off in the morning, it really did end about 11:30 and we did see consolidation from there on. So it really wasn't too bad of a day in my opinion, and the trend in the past 5 days is looking fairly okay as well. And zooming out to the past month especially, I will explain my opinions on this trend in a bit more detail, but things are looking exactly where I would expect them to be. So the 5 days not looking too bad either. You will see that we are moving up as time goes on. We hit our highs back here, which were up at the 442 mark, and we have been falling ever since. Now we hit our lows down here, which were about the 360 / 350 range, so really we have came back from there, and now we are dropping back down a little bit towards the end of Friday. But really, like I said, it's not too big of a drop, and especially considering the trend that we have noticed in the past month, things are looking very, very good. Now of course the data behind this one is also looking good. I'm sure you guys do know that as well. I think the data is fantastic, but I think what we're mainly doing in this video is a bit of a technical analysis. But as I have always said, whilst the data does remain good, I think what we need is that continued interest from retail investors to keep, of course, buying the stock and keep holding the stock if we do want to see it make higher moves in the future. But one thing that we are seeing now is this trend that we've noticed in the past month. I think going forwards into the next week, we could be looking for a bit of a push up in Prog. And the simple reason why I say this is because when you look out to the chart, one thing is clear, and I've been speaking about this for a couple of weeks. Now so far this theory has not failed, and don't get me wrong, it's not a foolproof theory, but it is something that I have noticed in the past month. Look at this stock chart and you will see one thing. We had our push up here, we went down for a couple of days, similar thing here, down again, up again, down again, up again, down again. The general trend, we are moving up as time goes on, which is a good thing. And I think where we are right now, we definitely could be coming up for our next push, because what I said in our last video when we checked in on the stock, we were just above the $4 mark. I said what we're really looking for is some consolidation above 4. If we can hold that, that would be fantastic, but if not, I'm expecting a small dip. And we have seen this in the past, especially in our last 2 or 3 drops. So what am I talking about here? I'm going to focus mainly on the last push that we had, which was back here. You will see we had a very, very similar scenario. We had a push above the $3 mark, and then we dipped below it for a couple of days, similar to what we are seeing here, a push above 4 and then a dip below it. Now actually in this trend you will see the drop is not too significant, which is good. It's somewhat similar to this period where whilst we were moving downwards, we actually did still have some consolidation, which is good to see. I think in the past 2 days especially, we could be looking for a move up into the next week. Now again, that's just completely speculative, it cannot be guaranteed, it's just going off what we have been seeing in the past few weeks. Whether this is true or not is unclear, but again, the day-to-day in this stock is not necessarily that important in my opinion, but I'm just saying based off the trends that we have noticed, it is something that we could be potentially looking for in the next week. So I think we have dropped now, by a significant portion to the extent where I could be expecting that push to come. But again, only time will tell, and I will be talking about this again on Monday. So now what I want to do is look at a few of the technical indicators, starting on the 1 day, moving out to the 5 day, and then moving out to the past month. On the 1 day, we're looking at a moving average exactly where we are. There's one simple reason for this. This whole consolidation period towards the end of the day has given us all that time to catch up, and clearly we have done so. We had that little dip, but because we came back from it quite quickly, again, we didn't really get caught out on the moving average. Now, the trend for the RSI is sat perfectly on 51. Bear in mind, 50 is neutral, so 51 is completely where we want to be. The trend on the MACD is looking bearish, simply due to that drop that we have had, catching us out a little bit on the MACD, and it is also a lagging indicator. Now, the 5-day chart will show us as well that we're looking fairly okay on a lot of these indicators. We're sat just below the moving average, and again, this is also a lagging indicator. It's not always going to be exactly where we are, so I'm kind of happy with that. The trend that we're seeing on the RSI is also not too bad. 4 points away from neutral. Again, 50 is neutral, so we're very, very good over there too. And the trend on the MACD is also quite neutral, because whilst we have had that drop into Friday, we are not looking too bad, and we have had that consolidation period here. So we don't really have too much to report on the trend for the MACD, but it is dropping a little bit because of this small drop that we had at the very end of day. Now, the past month chart, like I said, we're seeing some very good things. We're seeing volume figures for Friday, which were at 33.85 million. This is compared to the prior day's volume, if we can highlight that, which was a little bit higher if we can get that. So the volume figure for the prior day was a little bit higher. If we go into that one, we'll see it was 59 million. So we are dropping volume a little bit. Not necessarily the most important thing in the world, but it is a drop for those of you wondering. The RSI trend over here is on 68, so it is a bit high. One good thing that we do have because of this drop is that it has fallen down a little bit, coming down to more reasonable territory, because bear in mind 70 plus is not where we want to be. You will see back at 80 is what we would consider to be overbought, and we have touched it here for a little while. We came very close to touching it here, and now we are coming down to a more reasonable level, which is ultimately good. The trend on the MACD is looking mixed. Overall, we're seeing 3 bearish candles step in. The past 2 days, though, are not really much of a difference, you will see, which is a good thing. Bear in mind, if these start to drop lower and lower and lower, that is the start of a bearish trend. And whilst we are seeing 2 red days over here, the fact that these are not becoming more violent is a good thing. And again, it could potentially be pushing us up into next week, as we have seen oftentimes on the trend for this one in the past. And this goes on to highlight what I'm mentioning, because if you look both here and here as well, you'll see one thing is true. We had a big red candle here, which is similar to this. Then we had 2 relatively flat candles, which are shown both here, for example, and also here. And from those red candles, we did start to see another push up, and the trend cycle did continue. So whether that happens going forwards into next week, I am unsure. But 3 red candles is something that we often see before we see a push up. Again, whether that will be the same into this week is unclear. But overall, the trend on the MACD is still looking bullish, you will see, which is a good thing. So overall, with Prog, I think it is hard to say where we're going with this one, but one thing that I do know is that the data is looking good. And as I have always said with these sort of stocks, if the data is looking good, the one thing that we need on top of that is interest from long investors. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as long investors are appropriately informed, as far as long investors are appropriately invested, and of course, as long as they continue to buy and hold the stock, there's no particular reason why this one cannot go higher, in my opinion. Now again, it does definitely depend on people trusting the stock. It does definitely depend on people buying the stock and holding the stock. But potentially, we could be seeing moves up with Prog in the future. And again, the trend is looking very good. But do bear in mind and do remember, this one does carry a lot of risk. I think it is important to remind you of that. And of course, I am not a financial advisor. Do your own research, make your own opinions, as this is only mine. And of course, I can be wrong. This is a very speculative stock, and you guys should remember that before making any moves. But thank you for watching the video. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Goodbye. Thank you for watching through till the end, but let me tell you about our Discord. So on your screen you will be seeing the N2S Finance Discord. Obviously it is split into multiple sections. Basically at the top we have updates from me and all that kind of good stuff. If you scroll down a bit further, we have the main sections where we focus on cryptos, SPACs and other hot stocks, including penny stocks, even stable growth stocks as well, and we even have a special AMC GME chat. If you scroll down you can see some research and DD from the community. We also have funny memes, and you can see actual contributions from members down here. And again, if you do join us, it is completely free, link is down below. But if you do want to become a Patreon, you will actually get a pink sticker which will be displayed on your name. So your name will come up in pink as mine comes up in red down here, and that will show that you are a Patreon. But other than that, guys, you can join completely for free down below. You do not have to pay anything if you do not want to. Thank you for watching, see you soon.